School classrooms rely more and more on technology to teach our youth, but with constantly changing advancements, can schools keep up so that students are not left behind? Joining me now for more is Kathy Walter of the National Urban Technology Center, as well as the author of the ebook, Education and Technology System Projects, A New Vision for Success. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So the biggest challenge, the biggest issue facing schools with regards to technology, in your opinion, is what now?
The fact that there's so much of it,
okay,
right? And the fact that there's so much of it that keeps coming at them, right? So technology doesn't stop. It keeps growing. It keeps moving. And schools have to keep up. They have no choice.
So is there a disconnect between the teachers and the tech industry in terms of like planning and determining plans for the kids and setting goals and things like that as it continues to evolve?
Yeah, there is. You know, teachers have gotten a great opportunity over the last couple of decades to really start using more technology in the classroom, but there still is a big divide between, you know, companies who say, my product is going to help you do this differently, and teachers who say, but I only have so much time during the school day to teach my students about certain topics. So how am I supposed to work your product in and somebody else's product in and actually teach at the same time?
Well, it can be overwhelming, I would imagine.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's interesting, when we think about other industries, we think about all the time that we take and we get additional training in technology. And schools just don't have that kind of time, right? They don't have time to train all their teachers. They don't have time to sort of map the things that they want to teach with the technology that might be helpful for doing it. They're spending time on just being able to keep up with all the things they have to teach in a school day.
And lesson plans and core standards and, you know,
and everything else you want to throw in, because it's often not even just what happens in the classroom, it's everything that happens outside the classroom. So all the planning that has to go in, all of the things that are happening at a state level, all of the things that are changing at a local level, right? And they all have to sort of figure all of that stuff and work it into what actually happens in the classroom.
All right, so Kathy, now when I was in school, we had that, what was that thing that would project whatever the teacher put up? You remember that?
The projector.
The project, you know, but you could lay it down and then it would show up there, you know, like that, which we thought was cool, you know, but what technology are we talking about nowadays in the classroom?
Well, funny enough, projectors are still one of those things that teachers use, absolutely, because if they have a book and they want to show it to the students, it's a great mechanism to do that, right? It still works. The old stuff still works. Textbooks still work, right? And so what happens when it comes to technology is you have all these bells and whistles, right? So you have smart boards, which basically enables you to do exactly what you did with a projector, but you do it with a computer and on a board, right? And you can mark it up and you can send the kids notes and you can do those types of things. But the problem is, at the end of the day, if the technology doesn't work when you need to present a lesson, then what ends up happening is you got to go back and grab that textbook and grab that projector, right? You always have to have the non-technical version of whatever you're doing, just to make sure that you can be and have something to teach if the technical version doesn't work the way you expect.
I had to speak last February, I think it was, at Communications High School in New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore, and it was like for Career Day. And they were like, Antoine, we got this thing, we can hook it up, you can do a PowerPoint and stuff like that, just tell us what you need. And I'm going like, yeah, you do that, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's overwhelming for somebody who's visiting. I can't even imagine, you know, about the educator who's trying to, you know, convey and to wrap all of this up. But when we talk about new advances, new things they have to worry about, we're not just talking about iPads anymore now. It's even beyond that.
Oh, well beyond that, because it's actually what goes onto that iPad, right? And there's so many new applications and so many neat, cool things that you can do with a curriculum to sort of enhance the student interactions that go on. But what's interesting is that, again, it comes down to this company has this application, this company has that application. In order to get access to that application, you have to do this. In order to get access to this, you got to do that. And so we're forcing our schools to jump between all of these different products and all of these different ways of doing things. And so kids end up with, you know, a ton of different logins, a ton of different things that they have to remember, and most kids can't remember to do their homework, let alone what their password might be in order to get into the lesson so they can actually do it.
We can barely remember our own, you know.
Who am I kidding? I have mine listed at home, too.
You know? So look, Kathy, tell me about budgets, and, you know, districts are always worrying about cuts and funding and things like that. So how do they make sure that they're staying ahead of the curve, you know, with, you know, having to worry about budgetary restraints?
Yeah, a lot of times what happens is there's the budget, and then there's all the other things that schools can go after, things like grants and the like. And there are a lot more grants that are available outside of budgetary restrictions that might come in, but the budgets and the grants all have restrictions on how they can be spent, right? And so if a school really wants to see progress in a particular area, but there isn't budget for it, or there isn't a grant that they can find that they could actually like write and get some more dollars for, they're kind of stuck with the monies that they have. So there's a lot of restrictions even if there is budget available. And then in cases where they might want to do something more innovative or slightly different, it can take them a lot to get there. Right, okay. Just to get the funds to be able to do those types of things.
The title of the book again is?
A New Vision for Success.
And it can be found?
It can be found on Amazon. It's an ebook, very easy to download and share with all of your colleagues.
There it is right there. All right. Nice to meet you, Kathy.
Nice meeting you too.
Stay right there for a second.